Hi, I'm Natalie D'Adamio, and I'm an interdisciplinary artist focusing on abstract expressionism and that raw emotionality and that pure color power. I mean, sometimes it feels like that. And this is my solo art exhibition, Beautiful Mistake. And it's all about, on one level, diving into the process and really letting go. Which is like a free-for-all, wild, reckless abandon. Pure, so many things like hit you in those moments when you just let go of everything, including the rules. Hence, mistake. The mistake part is when there are no rules, there's a lot of places to go in the work. Here I'm standing next to Sweet Tides, which is a colorful expression of the emotional waters of life. I kind of saw a waterfall in there personally when I was like engaging with it, and there's a lot of little nice splashes and splatters, and was really working with a lot of fluid layers this time around, even more so than the past, and that's really informed part of the process and like letting it be the mistake, because I really love an unpristine surface for one, and that raw gritty contrast. Ooh, that's like makes me all happy. But I'm gonna flip this thing around and we're gonna take a walk through the show. I'll do a deeper commentary, so the video is probably gonna be long, but for those out there who love the commentary, it's perfect. So let's get started. So I know I already introduced Sweet Tides, but I just want to kind of take a deeper look. There's something about these surfaces, they really do require some attention instead of just passing them by. That's a deeper commentary there too. So many things get overlooked. Not just in art, but in life. And that yellow is kind of, it's like melting into each other. All those colors collide. But let's start over here. I guess we could start with, so we'll start with this painting. It's called Oracles and Omens and Awakenings. Oh my! Got a little Wizard of Oz play off, if you haven't noticed that. I was thinking about the storm when I was making this piece. The storm. And surviving the storm. There's many ways to survive a storm. One way is to make art and express the external, right? What's internal gets expressed externally, and then we feel better, hopefully, right? And we get artworks in the process too. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of gritty stuff going on in this one. When we get up close, mixed media collage. Again, these surfaces really need to be attended to, not just as the artist making the work, but like the viewer. But I can't force anyone to tend to them, but I can suggest, right? It's like, don't just pass it by. Why don't you look a little closer, spend a little time, and maybe you'll open up your mind, heart, energy, emotion, and feel it more. So this painting is 24 inches by 24 inches, and it's called Further Dive. Ooh, there's a nice blue and orange complementary color combination going on. I think blue and orange is my favorite complements, personally, but what I love about this piece is, well, actually you're going to see this in a lot of the work. There's a lot of stained surfaces, and believe it or not, I had to be patient in order to get that effect. Kind of have to let it sit around for a while. There's a lot of risk in all of this work. A lot of just making the work to make the work, which I suppose we're all doing that, but there's something really different this time around for myself personally. I can feel it and see it. So I'm just really letting go. But I love an unpristine surface. I think I already said that. And I really was like trusting myself in that way. And also, I love automatic and expressive experimental drawing. That's really showing up in the work as well. I love attacking the surface at the end. It's so risky. You might ruin the whole thing. But I've trained myself now, after a decade, to really just enter into the moment. So here we have a Dreamland. Dreamland is a horizontal painting. I got the question, why am I making verticals? I don't know. It's just the nature of the moment. But Dreamland is a painting that is a little bit different for me. And I almost, I made this one more closer to the beginning of the work. Like I know all the little moments and memories from making the collection, when things were emerging, what was going on. And it's definitely been a roller coaster ride. But again, there's some nice drawn marks in there. Some little splashes. Oh man, it's funny, I haven't really looked at this in a while, so it's really nice to look at it again. I love when I get excited about my own work, because you probably should, right? But it's really making me happy inside. It was kind of like a portal to another world. Unfortunately, like doorways and portals was coming up in this, and I couldn't really let it go. Hence the title Dreamland. And just really diving into the moment and the mark. So then we head over here to another 24-inch by 24-inch Akasha. I really love the indigo in this one. It's so deep. There's so many subtle variations that happen with the stained surface, and really letting go into the trust, letting that bleed together, very important for me. Ooh, look at this nice pink mark. That's nice. They're down here too. And then that subtle splatter, it's implied but not implied, so sometimes hard to do, I think. Because you want control but no control. And so you're right on all the edges there. Akasha, a lot of people are saying they see a mountain and a river in that. I see it. But then we move on to Kismmet. And Kismmet is 40 inches by 30 inches. And there's a lot going on. This painting also was juried into the Marin Society of Arts during the same time I was making the show, so I didn't really get a chance to announce that. But what was cool about what the judge said is they did admire the way I work with color and the expressionist aspect of it. And I've received the same comment from somebody else during my artist talk, so it's nice to hear that from the viewers out there, that working with color is kind of like a magical conjuring at times. Sometimes I don't even know how it happens looking back on it. I really get almost trance-like in the moment. And because I don't follow the rules, I am more of a feeler. and that like informs the work. A lot of people refer that to as intuitive and intuition. Intuition and intuitive practices go beyond just painting for me. It's actually how I live my life. I hear things, I sense things. I'm a sensory feeler, and I've learned to trust it more and more and more in the work, which is very exciting because it's changing everything. And here is important, a lot of automatic drawing. My own drawings are the collage pieces that are informing the like interplay of the work, which is really important to me. And automatic drawing, expressive experimental drawing is a huge aspect of my practice, but it's just one part of it, right? It's informing this larger work. So here we come to the next painting. When the heart meets the sky. This painting is 48 inches by 36 inches. And it keeps talking to me a lot since I put the show up. I just love it. You know, I love them all though. But look at that. Ooh, ha. Yeah. There's so much going on. It's like a sensory, colorful creation. You know what I love too is telling another artist, my artist friend, how I love how a painting cries. So those drips are very like luscious and seductive to me. I think I love this one because you can remember what you're thinking, at least I can, with some of this work, and it just brings back the memory of the creation, you know. It's nice to kind of take this wider backwards walk of looking at all these together. Beautiful. So we'll move over here to a 40 inch by 30 inch. It's called Something Fierce. And again, there's a lot of risk here. There's a lot going on, and I would really, ask people to engage with it from like the internal out, right? Like, take it in. Ooh, and feel that moment. You know what I'm saying? To me, a painting requires feeling and moving into it and like receiving it, spending some time, just like a great sunset or sunrise or a wild storm, or, you know, all those moments, or when someone like opens themselves to you, like you see more. So like this work, I think sometimes maybe is disregarded, which I was thinking about that a lot, you know, because I've been discredited and discarded and abandoned a lot in my life, like, and I think those themes really run deep into it, and I love that wild abandon, which is funny because, you know, it doesn't always translate in relation for it to be received. But so it makes sense that I'd be making this kind of work as the moral of that story. Of course I would be on the edge. Of course it wouldn't like be ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Of course it would be raw and gritty and unpristine and, you know, very emotional. Makes sense to me. At the same time, there's like a spiritual quality that is really coming through as well. So it's an interesting contrast that I hold within my own beingness, you know, and there's a lot more I could say on that, but I'm going to talk about this painting called Fly into the Blue. Ooh, yeah, baby. I really like this piece too. I mean, I like them all, but it's like I'm looking at them again. I haven't looked at them for a while. You know, all these subtleties and all those little moments, there's a lot of risk there. Just designed to leave that in there, and then there's drawn marks and there's little splashes, and it's controlled and uncontrolled, and it's all like dancing together in this one little moment. Now let's turn to one of the installation pieces. This is called Transmissions of Light, and it's 20 drawings installed. There is an intentionality behind this installation. Transmissions of Light is about bringing back the spiritual into the abstraction and giving voice to it. Because of my energetic and shamanic background, I bring through the esoteric, the energetic, the emotionality, and the energy, and so I'm calling it Transmissions of Light. It's also like a nod to the original abstractionists. We're more into spiritualism when you start looking through the history, like Hillman Clint and even Wassily Kandinsky. So it's about the spiritual element, and I really wanted to highlight that here with this drawing wall in particular. And the drawings were more intentional in relation to channeling the energy into color, line, shape, and form, and working that way with them. So it was important to have that aspect in here as a nod for that, and like a little precursor to what's to come through me as I open up to the next chapters of my art and teaching, and what I have to say and share. So, to the left we have a large painting, a 5-foot painting. It's 60 inches by 48 inches, and it's called Where the Wounds Weep Light. Very intense. I thought about the title for a while, and what happened within the layers really just kind of brought me to Where the Wounds Weep Light. So there's so many cool things going on. Those little scratch marks, the drawn marks, that like splatter where it's like an explosion. It's really intense when you like start looking into it and thinking about it. That one could really take some time to sit with because you could receive so much from it. All those little moments, end up making up this piece. It was really a lot of trust and letting go, and just like creating what I wanted to create in the moment. I suppose it's always like that, but I definitely have to receive a painting, I'll have a little story coming up about that. But this one here is 24 inches by 24 inches, and it's called Cataclysms of Love. I think that's about all kinds of different kinds of love and loss and just how it affects us. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, does it. But it's really exciting because I can remember to, in order to stain the surface, you really have to, spend some time with it. And I feel like my work, asks in the show to spend some time with it, to receive it. Because just as much as I had to spend some time with it to get to this place, it's calculated and it's not calculated, and that's important to say because I am thinking about design and composition but and even color and value. But really I want the automatic to take over, and I'm feeling first. Everything else follows suit. That's like my secret key ingredient weapon for me. And I'm just stronger with feeling first. So learning to trust that and then like wield the power of all of it together is a little intense. It takes time and practice, and see, like, just that risk in there. It's really exciting though. I'm like looking at these again for the first time in a while, so since they've been hanging up, and it's so interesting to revisit my work because I'm like, yes, this is good. So it's nice when it feels like that. This painting is 40 inches by 30 inches and calls when the stars collide. It definitely has like an otherworldly feel. There's a lot of doorways in this one too. There's a lot of like collage pieces that then kind of have an interplay. Also, like, I'm trying to employ the process that I do on paper, where I'm like letting the paper rip out and the sections come through. It's been a little learning curve to move it to canvas, but it's starting to work here. And there is something about, I remember making this piece and just dancing, and it was like flying out of me. A lot of this work is very like channeled, for lack of a better word, as in where something like beyond me was coming through. So I was really letting go into like the energetic, shamanic understanding, bringing that through and letting the painting make itself. It's not the easiest thing to do. So this large piece is called Free to Fly. It's another 5-foot piece in the show. Those are like the first 2 5-foot pieces. It's pretty blue. Of course I have to have a big blue piece. Come on now. Who would I be without that? It had many iterations though. I think somebody asked me, how do I know when it's done? It's a good question, and I think a lot of times abstract artists get that question. It feels done when it feels done. That's not a good answer, right? Because people want to know, how do I learn to trust that? Well, you have to learn to trust the feeling, and then you have to like keep studying artwork, and then you have to keep thinking about design, color, and composition, and then you have to forget everything you know and let go. Whoa, and that takes a lot of practice and a lot of work to come to that conclusion. And only you, the artist, can determine what it is for you. And that's another thing, too. So, yeah, you're thinking about all of that, and then not thinking about all of it, and then just letting something move through you. But there is kind of a method to the madness. I really would rather have the, like, stuff show. Like, sometimes you'll hear people don't want to see the brush strokes, or they hate drips. I love a good brush stroke, and I love a drip. Again, I love when a painting cries. It's like very cathartic to watch the paint drip down, and to kind of control it too, because, you know, to get these drips is like, sometimes you don't want the drips to drip, and you have to like kind of blot it out and go back into it. So even the drips are kind of like thought about, but not thought about. But, you know, you're always looking, at least for me when I'm in my practice, or I mean the whole time, I'm looking for that surprise. and I'm looking for when it catches. I'm paying attention to that over and over and over and over again, like a million times. I don't know how many times now. Like I said in my artist talk, I must have made over 1,000 things. Well, that eventually adds up to like your own understanding. It comes through you. No one can really give you that. What a great teacher can do is help you open your sensibilities and your sensory outputs and move you towards less fear. Anyway, this is Allesium, and it's 40 inches by 30 inches, and this painting has been through the gamut, that's for sure. It's also one of my other favorites. There's like 4 paintings that are speaking to me louder for some reason, and I don't think because they're just so like raw and true, and I know what this one's been through. This one at one time was like very black and magenta, and I keep telling the story, I'll tell it again. I tried to think Natalie's gonna make too much color because that's what she does. So I'll try to be minimal, and so I'll have a few minimal pieces to break it up, you know, because that's what they say to do. But whoops, just kidding. So I tried that, and I tried to plan that, and it did not work. I hated my life while I was trying to finish this piece for a minute, because I'm like, it's supposed to be minimal. Blah. Well, it is not minimal. And as soon as I just gave up the thought, this is really important because, look, I'm an intuitive, raw, emotional, abstract, expressionist painter, and I thought I could plan this moment to have more minimal work, and then when I did it, it messed me up. You see what I'm saying? So I was thinking it should be something that other than what it wanted to be. This is where we make a mistake all the time in art, with relationships and living. You know, just let it be what it wants to be and open up to it, instead of run or force or try to plan it into this thing. It's a great lesson, you know, and I still have to go through my own lessons even now, even when I thought I knew, right? I wanted to share this story because, you know, the one I let go, it was flying out of me. Whoa, boy, was it flying, and I was somewhere else, and, whoa. And, you know, I don't usually really use purple. It's pretty purple. Purple and yellow, another great compliment there. So I'm thinking about all that stuff, complementary colors, composition, you know, large to small. But I want like a lot going on, because I love the little subtle interplays. The drawn marks are super important to me. So it is mixed media. Kind of leaving it like, ooh, questionable. Yeah, that's like a big thing for me. If it's a little off, it feels so right, you know, like to me. These are really important things to talk about and say, because maybe you don't feel that way. That's okay. But as the artist and the creative and the creator, you better feel what you want to feel and like let it be okay, because you're gonna be happier, and then you're gonna start really producing something that you just love no matter what. And even if people don't, you're still gonna love it. That changes everything. It changes your internal process too, like, and then you show up differently to everything. I don't know, it's very nice. So this one was kind of the only one that I was trying to build up the surface with rice paper and joint compound. I was like looking for more of a dimensionality coming out of the surface because it just seemed more interesting. But I love this section too. It just ripped out very nice. This is called A Light Kept Secret. And it really is getting a lot of reaction. Some of people say this is their favorite. It's kind of another like spacey landscape. These other worlds are important to me. You know, we can journey to them through the work and kind of bring about these other understandings. But over here I have Edge of the World, and again, the surface, a lot of drawn marks. And just like letting go. We'll move over here to another piece that's becoming one of my favorites, Metaninoia, which a few people have said to me, I've only heard that word this year, so it's kind of interesting. It's like I keep saying my glitch in the matrix painting or like piece. How do I explain a moment that's forever shattered me and rebuilt me? And this is an attempt. It's like a lofty ideal. I think it's also one that stands out to me because, you know, it was really risky to just let it fly and let it splatter. There is a lot of splatter there. There was a little girl and a nice couple. They really spent some time on my show last weekend. It was awesome. And she said, that's a lot of splatter. Yeah. But there's like these other details too, right? When you're like looking at the surface. Drawn marks too. Collage paper, sometimes I love dictionaries as like working with the pages to get like other pieces. And like letting the surface be a little bit more raw and gritty. I just wrote down this week, I love a gritty contrast in art and living. I am excited by it. So the paintings are kind of like a testament to that aspect of myself. Over here we have Tender Things. This actually was the first piece that came out for the entire show. And it kind of started to inform the whole direction. You can see this, the screen is like stained more. And this is really flipping, like flicking to stain it and leave it that way. What's really cool is like sometimes they look like a mistake, but it's more calculated and maybe you wouldn't know the difference. I can't really remember every single moment on here, but I know that sometimes, you know, there's like the gentle moments. These, you know, drawn marks can be gently implied and subtly put in there. So maybe it looks intense, but it doesn't mean it's always intensity, which I kind of like that interplay and the like trickster energy it brings as well, because you can't really always tell. There's so much to take in. So here we come to the last section here. This is called Flaws and Fragments, and it's a collage drawing wall installation. And I say that because what it is bits of paper assembled in, glued together, collage, but a lot of drawn marks happen after the fact. So, hence the collage drawings. Also, sometimes these pieces really make themselves, which I love. I'm always looking for that moment, like something I can't predict or expect or plan. I want that to happen. And then the more and more you notice those types of moments, then you can start to like play with that. And sometimes you can plan it, but you can, it becomes malleable, all of it. And that's exciting to me. Also, I was putting some words in there that says tussle. It was fun. Those were just accidental holes, and I was like, it's so cool. I don't know how it burnt itself out, but it did. So those little things like excite me so much, and I'll just work with them because that's what's like interesting to me. And I'm pulling these different disparate parts together. I just love how it makes something new entirely. And these small works are kind of like a precursor to what's about to happen for my next solo exhibition that's opening in November, called Unbounded, Breaking Free from Traditional Constraints. We can kind of get a little taste of where I'm heading. And it's all kind of hidden in this whole show, you know. So I hope you enjoyed journeying through my show, Beautiful Mistake, with me and hearing a little bit of the deeper thoughts. I sure do love to talk about it, and I really know myself and what I'm interested in from working over the years, and it's really starting to accelerate, not just in the pain, but in life, and I'm moving more fully into all of me, which is exciting, because it's been a long journey to be here now, and I'm sure many of you can relate if you're in your art practice and art process and just your creative life every day, or if you were hiding away and returning to it. There's many steps, many layers, and many ways back to ourselves, and I just really love art and creativity and expressing all the sides, and I'll be doing a lot more of that on the channel going forward and in my life. So I see how it's all interconnected, connected, and infinite, and that's exciting because that means we're never done. We're always growing and learning and moving beyond it all. So thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this little tour.